Good morning, and welcome to another episode of Ask Elly Intuitive Insights and Your Questions Answered. Today is September 15th, 2021, and I am your hostess, Elly Molina. I am an intuitive, a psychic, educator, and an author. And today we're going to answer some questions that have been submitted, and we're going to talk a little bit about some up and coming astrological events, and we're going to talk about imagination. So let's get the show on the road today, and welcome, welcome, welcome. So, our first question for today was submitted by PS, and PS does not share where they are from, nor do I. So the question is, hi Elly, thanks for your podcast. I've been feeling really out of sorts these past few days and don't know why. Any ideas? Okay, yes, PS, I've got plenty of ideas. So let's take a look at I don't know where you live because you didn't share that. And if you're on the East Coast and you're in the United States, let's take a look at some of the astrological and things that are happening. First of all, across the world right now. But first of all, we have Venus entering Scorpio on September 10th. And so the energy of Venus entering Scorpio is one of looking deeper. There's more introspection. So we have more self introspection. And if you're feeling a little down and not sure why you're feeling out of sorts, it is quite possible that you have been in the energy of introspection. So, a really great place to look would be your thoughts. So, what are you thinking about? Where have your thoughts been? What conversations have you been engaging in? So, again, to become mindful and aware of the conversations that are around you and that you are participating in would be extremely helpful. The other astrological thing that we had was that on Tuesday, Mars entered Libra. And so, this again, Mars in Libra is going to quiet us down. So now we have um, re- now we have a reflective Venus going deep and pondering. And then we have Mars going quiet now and not taking any actions, but really looking to establish some sort of equilibrium right now. And between those two planets, that can give you this space of, okay, I'm just going to sit back and I'm going to surrender and I'm not going to do anything. And sometimes when we sit back and surrender and not do anything, what happens is we start to feel out of sorts because we're not in action. So, for those, oh, good morning for those people who have just joined the live call. Good morning, Deb and Josie. I'm going to repeat the question. So if you are listening to this podcast as a recording, just know that I'm going to be answering the question again for the people who just joined. And the question that was, hi, Elly, thanks for your podcast. I've been feeling really out of sorts these past few days and don't know why. Any ideas? And I just offered the idea that Venus has entered Scorpio on September 10th, this causing a space of introspection and reflection. And then with Mars going into Libra yesterday on September 14th, again, a planet that loves action, now slowing down, going into a little bit of more equilibrium. This gives people the opportunity to go into a reflective state. And when we're going into a reflective state, we're not doing, we're just being. And sometimes we then mistake that energy of just being for sadness because we're not running around doing anything. Also, just to be mindful, we did have very heavy collective energy on Saturday, September 11th, which was 9/11. We had a very heavy collective energy. And if you live on the East Coast or in a large populated city where there is a large population of people who celebrate the Jewish holiday of Yom Kippur, this is also going to affect your energy around you, because tonight is the beginning of Yom Kippur, and Yom Kippur is the holiest day in Judaism. And this is the day of atonement and repentance. It's a heavy day. People are asking for forgiveness for their sins and for forgiveness for anything that they have done that is not in alignment with their highest good. So we're looking at a lot of heavy energy these last few days. And the collective consciousness will pick up on that heavy energy. And then you're going to look and think that maybe it's you. The other thing that I'm going to suggest, PK, is that you take a look at, again, the conversations that you're having. Who are you talking to? What are they talking about? What is the energy? Is it heavy energy? Are they having difficult conversations? Are they complaining? Are they in pain? Look at the people you are surrounding yourself with and look at their conversations. Be introspective. And then the second thing to do is also pay attention to two other things. Number one, what are you watching at night or during, what are you watching on television? What shows are you watching? Remember, the subconscious never stops. It is picking up information all day long. So if you are watching something upsetting or heavy at night, television, Netflix drama, whatever you're watching, remember that can have a very, very large impact on your daily behavior, on your consciousness, only you're unaware that it is what you're watching is impacting your daily thoughts. And then the second thing that I'd like you to pay attention to is to watch your news feed. What are you watching? And this is just something that I paid attention to. I always look at the headlines that come through into my inbox and see who's reporting on what. And there were quite a number. I was very conscious of this. There were quite a number of articles written in the last few days that appeared in my inbox on doomsdayer and preps and preppers, and the number of people looking to prep and locations and the best locations for doomsday. And this was appearing in my inbox. And I'm like, okay, why are more than one news source writing about this? Why is more than one source writing about this? What's going on? What is, what is the media looking to do? Are they just piggybacking on other people's ideas? So the point is that the more conscious you are of what you are being fed, the more you can direct what's coming in at you. But you gotta really, I hate to use the word, but I'm going to use it. You got to wake up. You have to look at what is influencing you, who's influencing you, and are you being hijacked? Okay. So meaning, are your thoughts being hijacked, or are you taking good control or adequate control of where your thoughts are going and where your focus is going? So, with that, hope that answers that question for you, PK. And if anybody else has any questions or comments, now's a perfect time to put them into the chat or even call in with a comment or a question. All right, so I'll give everybody a few seconds for that and then continue moving right on in. Okay, next thing on the agenda. So today's call is about imagination, and imagination being everything. Einstein said, imagination is everything. It is the preview of life's coming attractions. All right, so we know what that means. We see everything in the mind's eye first. And there is everything gets imagined first. We know this. We just have to pay really careful attention if what we are imagining is something that works for us or if it is working against us. So, for example, let's just take my example of the doomsdayer prepper email that I received from the news source, and it was a pretty reputable news source, also mainstream news source, not fringe out there. And if we take a look at the email and we look at what I was reading, so after I opened it up and started reading, my imagination was hijacked and it went where the author was taking me, which was looking at locations where preppers go and how prepping for doomsday has become more mainstream than ever before. And so my imagination followed the written word and what I was reading. And then I decided that I didn't want to be reading any more of this, so I gave it up. So the thing is with imagination, you want to, again, be aware. What is it that is coming into your sphere, what's coming into your consciousness, and then make a quick decision by becoming aware of what's coming in. Do I want this? Will this take me to my goal or what I have as a vision to where I want to be? Is this a plus? Will this work for me? Or will this work against me? And then you get to control your thoughts and go on to the next project or the next thing that's happening in your life. Okay, the next quote that I have is also from Einstein, and it is logic will take you from A to B, and imagination will take you everywhere. So imagination can make that's again, that was a quote by Einstein. So, imagination can make us healthy, and imagination can make us sick. Our thoughts can take us to healthy places, and we can see ourselves healthy and vibrant and running through the fields. Or we can also see ourselves worried and sick and fearful of a pain that we have, and then we can go down that rabbit hole of what that pain could potentially be. And then before you know it, you find yourself sitting in a doctor's office with a lot of other people that are also in that energy of being unwell. Okay. All right. Deb says, love that quote. Thank you for sharing. I do too. So let's talk about imagination and what imagination can do. And let's talk about dreaming, because there is a difference between the imagination and dreaming and actions and taking actions. So, first of all, imagination will take you everywhere. If you decide to imagine something and get a really clear vision on what it is that you want and where you want to go, and you begin to live in that imagination, and remember, nobody's in your head, so nobody sees what you're thinking about, nobody sees what you're dreaming about. And if your imagination is in alignment with the energy in your body, it is a working for you. This means it excites you. It makes you happy. You feel good about it. Your subconscious is going to start to scramble to find ways to bring this into fruition. I remember reading in Napoleon Hill where a gentleman was standing in front of a very, very large, open, I'm not going to call it field. It was in a city. So he was standing in front of a very large city block that overlooked a hill. And somebody asked him, "What are you looking at? There's nothing here." And then the speaker said to his friend, "There's nothing here now, but I'm seeing a really big, beautiful building that will be here." And lo and behold, we know the end of the story, that there was then a big and beautiful building built on that space. And even just think about the movie with Kevin Costner, Field of Dreams, all right? So, and it's all in our everyday life. We imagine, certain people imagine it, and then they bring it to fruition. And the difference between, again, dreams and imagination is that in a dream, when we're dreaming of something, we don't always bring those dreams to fruition. We don't all often do anything with the dreams. We just kind of play with them and explore them, and then we forget about them, and they come in, they come out. And one could argue that dreams are the same as imagination. And yes, perhaps they are, and it's just a little bit of a technicality. However, in the imagination, something happens that doesn't necessarily happen when we're in a waking dream state. And that is, imagination starts to pull in a little bit more energy than just dreaming about something. Dreaming about something is a very passive activity, and we can dream about winning the lottery, and we can dream about moving into your big, whatever it is that you want to do. But if it remains in that dreamy state, there's very little belief in there that it's going to come to fruition. It kind of stays in that dreamy space of no action, and no action, no energy, and no intention. And it is the intention, the action, and the energy that will drive a project. Whereas when you're sitting somewhere and you're going into imagination, what you're really doing is you're beginning to use a different part of your brain, and there is an energy that gets evoked in the imagination because you're actually beginning to see it. You're bringing it much closer to the frontal lobe, to your pineal gland, and you're bringing it much closer. It's almost becoming real. You can feel it, you can see it, you can taste it, you can smell it. So you have your body involved in it. And so therefore the imagination becomes real. And imagination is more real than most of our reality around us. So that's something to contemplate also. All right. Questions about anything so far? So, how do we expand our imaginations and create a better world for ourselves and those who will come after us? Um, well, this is going to be, again, my opinion. And in order for one to look at creating a better world and expanding imagination, we probably need to start with controlling our focus and where our energy goes. And when I talk about controlling our focus and where our energy goes, this means that, again, we pay attention to being hijacked by other people's agendas. And we are majorly and masterfully schooled in the art of distraction. We spend more hours being distracted than we do being focused and intentional. And when I say distracted, what does that mean? Well, the phone rings or our cell phones beep and we run and take a look at what it is that's going on. So, right there, somebody else has hijacked our focus and our intention. Perhaps you're on your computer and there's a ping or a ding, and that then takes your attention or distraction. You move right into there. Or if you're working on a laptop and you have your browsers open and then you see that another email has come through, well, then you take your focus and you've distracted it over there, um, and followed that email or whatever it is that has just presented itself. Then, in terms of distraction, we get hijacked in other people's conversations during the day. We get hijacked with, the list goes on, that we are constantly being distracted by other people's agendas. And then we say to ourselves, oh, I just can't concentrate. And when I'm teaching my psychic development programs, I always teach that the ability to concentrate and focus is learned. And there's nothing really wrong unless you have like some serious neurological problem with the brain and the mind. People are able to concentrate and focus when they are trained. Nobody trains us. If you ever go back and think about your days in school, how many times have you heard the teacher or even a parent saying, focus, focus, concentrate, concentrate? Only, have you ever had a course in concentration? Has a teacher ever taught you or a parent ever taught you how to focus and how to concentrate? Probably not. And so learning how to focus and learning how to concentrate is a teachable skill, and then it involves practice. So think about a movie. If you're watching a movie and the director will take you in that movie, he or she will take your emotions to a happy place, and they'll take your emotions to a sad place, and your heart will beat rapidly. You'll be sitting there at the end of your chair, and then all of a sudden the movie is over, and you say, "Wow, those 2 hours just flew by. I can't believe it." Well, during those 2 hours, you and your focus were totally hijacked by the director. They took you exactly where they wanted to take you. And that is what happens. We give up our focus. We surrender our focus to where other people take us, as opposed to saying, you know what, today, right now, 10 minutes, I am going to solely focus on this project that I am doing right now. No distractions. I'm going to practice and focus on one thing at a time. So I'm going to do my dishes and only do my dishes. I'm going to make my bed and only make my bed. How many times women have a tendency to start to pick up a laundry, and let's say go to do the laundry, and then all of a sudden they'll put down the laundry, and all these other things are screaming at them. Oh yeah, put me away, do this, do that. Oh, come over here, make that phone call. And that is a perfect example of not focusing enough to complete one task. And this is all practice. It does not take medication to focus. It takes a learned skill to practice focusing. So sometimes when I start working with the kids and even the adults in my side development programs, we learn to tuck away our body and focus on something. I like to focus on a candle, and we start with focusing for 15 seconds where we just sit there and we don't do anything, and we focus and we just watch our bodies, and we pay attention to how many times we have the urge to scratch ourselves or to move, or there's a tickle somewhere, and yet we hold on and we focus on the candle and not on the itch, not on the urge to scratch. And I have prepared a 16-page downloadable free guide for developing beginning to develop psychic abilities and interacting and really enhancing your psychic abilities, whether you're doing it for yourself or you're doing it with a child or you're doing it with a grandkid. And that is available at my brand new site, which is www.psykidsacademy.com. And if you go to the psykidsacademy.com, you can download a free 16-page guide. And there's going to be some exercises on focusing also and on concentrating. So it's a really good way to begin to practice focus and concentration. And then with focus and concentration, you can also step into imagination now. Imagination on a different level through meditation. Imagining what it is that you want. Imagining the feeling of what it is that you want, of having it. So you're no longer dreaming like it's not going to be a possibility. Perhaps you're imagining winning the lottery, seeing those numbers, feeling it real, getting that energy into your body, seeing yourself going to accept your big Mega Million Powerball or lottery number. That is a very different feeling than just sitting around and like, oh God, yeah, I wish I'm dreaming about winning the lottery, or I'm dreaming about doing this, but there's no action and there's no real vivid imagination. And when the imagination gets triggered and it gets really vivid, because now you know how to focus and you know how to concentrate, and you can add in the colors and you can add in the feeling and the sense and the smell and the touch, and you can see it real, then the universe will start to scramble to bring this to your next reality. And, just think about all the things that you have created in your life. You've seen them first somewhere. They were there in your imagination. You can say, hey, you know what? I've always wanted to do this. And I saw myself and I visualized myself doing this. And I imagined that happening. And then there it was. It happened. Okay, now when we start to create a better world for ourselves, we can start to imagine a better world. So rather than reading articles on doomsdayer and preppers, we can start to imagine a world where people start to take care of the environment and they start to take care of our natural resources. And we start to imagine a place where there is harmony as opposed to conflict. And these are things that we can do, and we have control over this when we choose to use our focused, concentrated efforts and imagination to something positive and beneficial for ourselves, our families, and the planet. And yeah, okay, anybody have any questions, any comments? We're winding down to the end of today's podcast. And we did cover quite a lot. We covered from imagination to focused concentration. And I'm going to encourage you all, everybody who is listening, to go grab a candle today or whenever you have the opportunity. Light your candle and then sit quietly. Set your timer for 15 seconds. Set it for 20 seconds. Set it for 1 minute. Set it for 10 minutes and start to practice sitting quietly, watching your candle, and not moving your body. Tuck away your body. You can do this by yourself. You can do this with a spouse. You could do this with a child, a grandchild. You could do this anywhere, anytime. You can turn it into a game. Then you can take a look and see, oh, what did you notice while you were sitting and focusing on the candle? Did you feel the urge to scratch somewhere? Did you feel the urge to move? What was that like? How many times did you feel it? Did you bring yourself back? It's a lot of fun. And it's also developing your ability to concentrate and to focus. The stronger this gets, the better it will become, the easier it will be to use your imagination to focus what it is that you want to have, the easier it'll become to start to manifest the things that you want for yourself. Okay. Any questions for today? Any comments, questions? Um, thank you, everybody. So we're going to end early today, and if anybody has questions or comments, please type them in right now. Otherwise, I am wishing you all a very wonderful week, and I would like to just share an upcoming event that is happening on the 22nd on our next um, podcast. We're going to talk about the sun entering Libra and the autumn equinox. And I'm even going to put together a ritual for that day for you. And then on the 29th, I have a very exciting guest, none other than Carrie Ann Flanagan, who is the author of so many books. And she's got a new book out on haunted places, haunted mysteries on Long Island. And Carrie Ann is going to be with us and talking about her book and what it takes um, for her to. I'm going to ask her lots of questions. So, and you can ask her questions. So, her book is going to be Historic Haunts. I think this is the new one. She's just got a brand new book. It's just being released. And yeah, we'll talk about that and how you can get it and what it takes to to write this. So the book is called Historic Haunts of Long Island, and it was just released. Okay, that's about it for today. And I wish you all a very, very wonderful week, a fabulous weekend, a happy holiday, easy holiday, not happy in this case, a very easy holiday if you are celebrating. And may peace be with you, and practice your focused concentration and get back to me and let me know how it went. All right, sending you all much love. Take care and be well. Bye, everyone.